Hi everybody. I sound a little froggy, I guess. I got sick last week, so I'm getting over my cold, but my voice is just a little bit um, hoarse. So I do apologize if there's anything that you can't hear in this video. Please email me. I'd be happy to clarify for you. Um, this is going to be a pretty long video because we're starting a new unit. I'm really excited. I know some of you have actually emailed it before or commented somewhere and said that you're looking forward to this unit. I am so looking forward to this unit. Um, I love the MLA unit, but the APA unit actually, it's just, it gives you so much more freedom. There's so many things you can do with it. There's so many things you can talk about. And it's so relevant to the world today. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. But this video is very long, so what I'm going to do is in the comment below this video, I'm going to post at what time in the video, like 5 minutes, 10 seconds, at what time I begin talking about each element in this video, so that if you need to quickly jump to a part, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for turning in your MLA papers. A lot of you have emailed me and asked for extensions. Please keep those deadlines so that you can stay ahead and on top this unit. I know some of you got behind in the MLA unit. That's okay. It happens. This is a fresh start. So if you're struggling, I am your teacher and I am here to help you. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask for help because I will help you. I just need to know that you need me. So thanks for turning the MLA paper in. It's probably going to take me about 2 weeks to get those graded because I am going to make video comments on all of those papers. And because they're so long, it's probably going to take me at least an hour to go through and do the comments and the videos for those papers, an hour per student. And there's at least 10 of you still turning in your work, so that's a good solid 10 hours. And my sweet child does not give me a good solid 10 hours on my own, so I have to break it up over many, many days. And I'm teaching 5 classes, so I'm very, very swamped. It'll take me about 2 weeks to get these things graded, but I promise that I will be thorough and I'll give you a lot of feedback. So welcome to your second unit. This is the APA unit, and we have a lot to talk about. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to introduce the full APA project, and then I'm going to talk specifically about the extended bibliography, which is the first component. Just like our last unit, we had 3 elements. We had the annotated bibliography, we had the research proposal, and we had the final paper. And we have a very similar structure, although it's slightly different for the first 2. The first thing in our project this unit is an extended bibliography. It's not an annotated bibliography, but it's extended. So you're doing the same amount of work. It's different how I'm asking you to do the work. The second thing in this unit is sort of a research proposal, but it's a discussion where you present your findings and kind of the research that you're doing and your ideas in a little handout, like a PDF document or a Word document that you create that's just a page or 2 pages of information on your subject. And you present that in the discussion 1 week, and then you guys will kind of go through and talk about social media. That's the topic of this unit. So you'll go through and you'll talk about social media and its influences and how language is influenced and how rhetoric sounds on social media. You'll spend a week discussing your ideas with each other. So it's kind of like, hey, here's my ideas. What do you guys think? It's very informal, but of course it's still a major assignment, so it has academic formality. And then of course you'll have a final paper just like you did with the MLA unit. So that's the scope of this project. Things are due every 2 weeks, just like they have been due before. Your first assignment, your extended bibliography, is due on let's see here, the 8th of April, and then your handout is due on the 15th of April, and the discussion is due on the 22nd of April. And then your final paper is due on the 6th of May. So take a look at the calendar if you need it. If you haven't printed it out, or if you lost your printout because it's been a while, go back into course information and print that out. Okay, so I'm going to start off by talking specifically about the APA project. This is a big project. It's probably unlike anything you've ever done before because it is a case study. We're going to spend a lot of time this week learning about what a case study is, and I'll talk a little bit about it today. But what I want you to do first this week is I want you to establish a frame of reference for the APA project, and that just means doing some reading and understanding more about social media. So read this on rhetoric in social media. Read about social media as a primary source, because in this paper, social media is your primary source. Think about your last paper. Your primary source was what you were analyzing in order to argue about it, and that's what we're doing in this paper. Social media is what you are analyzing, and you're analyzing the language of social media, the rhetoric of social media, the conventions of social media, how social media functions in our world in order to make an argument about it. So social media is a primary source. Basic questions for rhetorical analysis, which is kind of what we're doing here. You've probably done a rhetorical analysis before. You've maybe thought about audience purpose and tone, and we're really going to take that stuff into consideration now here in 112. And then there's 2 readings in our textbook. One is kind of just social media inclined, and then the other one is not about social media, but it is an example of a case study. It's called Hip Hop's Betrayal of Black Women, and so it's actually studying hip hop. So that's like the case that's being studied here, the primary analysis. Okay, so I want you to familiarize yourself with just kind of, position yourself within the topic of this assignment, and when you're ready, then you can go on and kind of figure out what it is that we're doing in this project. So in order for me to explain each segment of the project for this unit, I have to show you the light at the end of the tunnel. So I have to go over the final paper first so that you can see how these steps are working toward the final paper. I'm not going to talk about the extended bibliography first because you'd be really confused. So I'm going to talk about the final paper first, but just remember, this paper is not due until May 6th. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to just kind of go through the basic prompt here, and if there is anything that I can point out to you guys as I'm going through it, I will. So in this paper, your goal is to analyze the rhetoric of social media. I've got a little note here. Rhetoric refers to the study and uses of written, spoken, and visual language. It investigates how language is used to organize and maintain social groups, construct meanings and identities, coordinate behavior, mediate power, produce change, and create knowledge. Rhetoricians often assume that language is constitutive, meaning we shape and are shaped by language. Dialogic, meaning it exists in the shared territory between self and other. Closely connected to thought, mental activity as inner speech, and integrated with social, cultural, and economic practices. Rhetorical study and written literacy are understood to be essential to civic, professional, and academic life. So you can see how studying rhetoric is studying social media. I mean, these 2 things are interconnected, and we're talking about how the rhetoric of social media affects us. Okay, so in this paper, your goal is to analyze the rhetoric of social media by performing a case study. A case study is looking at a small sample or individual in order to make a broader argument about the whole. It's like this. If I had a pie and I analyzed just a slice of that pie and I was like, okay, this slice of pie has cherries in it. So that tells me this whole pie is cherry pie. That is what you're doing with a case study. You're analyzing just one segment of social media in order to make an argument about all of social media. So for this paper, you'll pick one person, a business, an event, a hashtag, or some other element unique to social media, such as the fact that Facebook has this live stream option. You can pick a convention of social media. So you're going to pick one person, one business, event, hashtag, or other unique social media element. I've always been interested in maybe somebody picking like the fact that Twitter has a character count. That's very interesting to me, and how that affects rhetoric. Once you've made your decision and once you've chosen what you're going to talk about, you'll analyze the rhetoric of that social media case study by looking at language and image. Based on what you see, you will then make an argument about social media as a whole, how we interact with social media, and how it affects us. So that's the point of this paper. Let me take a peek at my comment here. Okay. So what I want you to do is look at the language, look at imagery of how your topic presents itself on social media. Let's say you chose an event, and that event was very, very popular. How did people publicize that event? What language was used to talk about that event? What comments and language in that comments were people saying in order to respond to that event? What images were present in order to prioritize and make this event popular? Let's say, for example, you chose Donald Trump. Analyze his social media presence. What language does he use on Twitter? How does he represent himself in this unique social setting? Based on what you see, then you're not making an argument about Donald Trump. I mean, you kind of are, but you're making an argument about social media as a whole. So I see Donald Trump doing this on social media, and that suggests that social media is this bigger thing. You know, what is social media? What argument can you make about social media? So what I want to say here is that with this project, it's not the time for you to stand on your soapbox and make a social commentary. It's time for you to talk about social media, and that's the point of this paper. A lot of people, I've really had to work with people in the past to keep their topic on topic and not to kind of go off on a tangent talking about something that is related to their topic but irrelevant for the point of this paper. That's just so crucial. Wow. You'll do research. We'll talk about that research later because that will be more relevant for your extended bibliography. Okay, so what else is really important here is that no two students can have the same case study, which means that I have created a worksheet here. It's the already claimed events worksheet. As of right now, and I'm shooting this video at, I think it's like 11 o'clock at night on Sunday, March 25th. Nobody has claimed anything because you can't see this yet. But the minute you watch this video, the minute you see this assignment, you can claim your topic. You have to email it to me, and it has to get approved via email before you can even begin to do your research, because you might not get it approved. Plenty of people will email me with something and I will not approve it because it just doesn't fit within the scope of this project. So really make sure that you're understanding that you're picking something and have a backup plan just in case. So because no two people can have the same project, I have to have this worksheet. So before you pick your topic, make sure that you check this sheet. If the topic is on it, you can't have it because somebody else already does. And I'll put your name next to the topic just so there's no confusion. So when you're ready, when you pick a case that you want to study, please email me about that case study and I will approve it, and it's first come, first serve. So whatever email comes in first is the one that I'll first look at. So if 20 people email me and say, I want to do Donald Trump, it will only be the first person who emails me that gets to do Donald Trump. Hopefully nobody will do that. That's a task. That's a mammoth of a challenge. Okay. If you don't receive an email back from me within 24 hours, please email me again because I probably did not get your email. Okay, so in terms of a case study, I kind of talked a little bit about it before, but I'll talk about it again because it's so crucial to this assignment. You're specifically writing about one occurrence, affair, function, topic, social media element, whatever it is that you're picking that relates to social media. And we're talking about social media here, not just the media. Fox News is not, that's the media. It's not social media. CNN is the media, not social media. Social media is, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Reddit, there's plenty more. Pinterest, things like that are social media. You do not have to have a social media account. If anybody's like, I'm not on Facebook, how am I going to do this assignment? You do not have to have a social media account in order to participate. I promise that you do not. You can easily Google social media, and you'll find what you're looking for without having to have an account. So by case study, let me get back to that. What do I mean? I want you to write specifically about one thing. Consider a court case, a politician, a celebrity, a death, a birth, a celebration, a tragedy, an election, a crisis, a protest, a function of social media, a meme on social media. The event should be specific enough as to narrow your thesis and focus, but broad enough so that you can have a full essay. So something that might be too narrow is May 2nd, 2011. Something that's too broad is war, but the killing of Osama bin Laden is a good case study to look at because it was highly discussed on social media, leading up to it and the after effects and all the things people were talking about on social media when it came out that, the military had found Osama bin Laden. There was a big discussion, and so it's interesting to analyze the rhetoric of what people were saying and what does that say about us as a culture, and what does that say about how social media affects us and influences us. There was such an excitement, but also so much rage. You could feel it when you analyze the tone of people's language, the things that they were saying. And so why do we take to social media to get ragey? Why do we do that? Something very interesting. And so I would like to make an argument about that, So I think I'm going to pause here, and the rest of this stuff we will talk about later, but that should give you an understanding of where we're headed with this assignment. So I'm going to X this out, and then I'm going to go in and talk to you about the extended bibliography, because again, the extended bibliography is the first element within this 3-step process. It's the first thing that's due. Again, it's due on April 8th. April 8th. And I want to talk a little bit more about it. So, excuse me. Your extended bibliography is just that. Remember, your annotated bibliography had those little annotation paragraphs below each one of your citations, but your extended bibliography is just a list of citations with no paragraphs. So I'm going to read through the prompt for you guys, and then I'm just going to pause at various points to discuss further. Create an APA formatted extended bibliography. Annotations are not required. Please don't annotate. I don't want to read those paragraphs. Including at least 20 primary sources of social media posts that relate to the event, topic, or social media element. Not sure what I'm talking about? Go back to about 10 minutes ago in this video and listen. Or read the final paper assignment first to get an idea of what to do. So remember, we're analyzing social media. So social media is our primary source. And so you want to have 20 primary sources. If I go to, this might be a bad idea, but I'm doing it anyway. If I go to Facebook, and I search, why not Donald Trump? I could see what he's up to, see what he's posting. So let's use this as an example here. Donald Trump 14 hours ago posted this comment here about the military and the military budget. This is an example of a primary source. I would analyze Donald Trump's language in my final paper in order to make an argument about social media, and this is one example here. So when I say in the extended bibliography that I'm looking for 20 primary source social media posts, this counts as one of them. There are comments that there are almost 8,000 comments that people have discussed on here, and each comment counts as its own primary source. So within these comments alone, there are almost 8,000 primary sources, okay? If I looked further down on Donald Trump's page, can I go? Let's see. Can I get to the bottom? Okay, if I look further down, I can see that Donald Trump posted yesterday at 3 o'clock this video. This counts as a primary source. All of the comments below it count as primary sources. Let's say I wanted to go to a different social media and I went to Reddit. I don't know if you're familiar with Reddit, but if you're not, it's a lovely place. And I found something on Donald Trump on the first page. Here's a meme about Donald Trump. So if I'm looking at Donald Trump about rhetoric, about the language that's being posted on social media, it's very interesting. This counts as a primary source. There are probably 546 comments about this meme, and each one of those counts as a primary source because someone different posted, each comment, so you would cite those individually. So when I'm asking for 20 primary sources, that's easy to do. There's so much stuff out there, especially with a more popular topic. Okay, so 20 primary sources, and there are, you're probably like, how do I cite a social media source? More information on that to come. I will make a note of how to do that because there is information in our reference guide. Remember, now that we're in the APA unit, our reference guide is good to go. It's up to date. You can still use the Purdue OWL. That's perfectly fine, but your reference guide will be helpful for you. Again, that's the Prentice Hall reference guide. So there's information on there on how to cite a social media post, on how to cite Facebook, on how to cite Twitter. But if you do cite something like Reddit, or if you cite something like Instagram, that stuff's not in our textbook. It's probably not on the Purdue OWL because it's so obscure. I will give you that information. And if I don't, remind me, please. Okay, so 20 primary sources. And remember that, like, I just showed you 2 examples, a meme with almost 600 comments and some posts from Donald Trump with almost 8,000 comments. You probably don't want to just pull all your comments from one post or all of your primary sources from just one place. In fact, I'm not going to let you do that. But the reason you don't want to do that is because it's going to make your it's going to make your, I guess, the information and your analysis kind of skewed because it's only coming from one place. So you really want to pull from all over social media. So because of that, here comes to my next paragraph. You must include at least 3 different types of social media. So you can have Facebook, you can have like a personal blog, you can have maybe like a bookmarking site like Pinterest. So if you wanted to have like Instagram, if you wanted to have Twitter, if you wanted to have Facebook, that'd be fine. That can be 3 different types of social media for me. Please know that articles published online are not considered social media. Okay, so if you find something from like The Atlantic, or if you find something from like BuzzFeed or the New York Times, those are articles that are written by an editor, and those are not social media because there's an editor involved, there's an editorial process involved, whereas social media is just anybody can post. But sometimes these articles have comments below them that are linked to social media, and those comments could very well count as primary sources. So in addition to your 20 primary sources, then I also want you to have at least 5 secondary credible sources and 5 scholarly articles. One thing to note is that your scholarly articles, probably nobody has done the research that you're going to do. And if they have, that's great. But chances are, if you pick something that's very, very relevant or very, very recent, it's probably not been analyzed yet in a scholarly way. So you might not necessarily find scholarly sources on your subject or on your case study, but you can find scholarly sources on social media topics. So be on the lookout for that. If you just go into ProQuest and search for social media, you're going to find tons of scholarly articles, and one of them or more will probably relate specifically to what it is that you're trying to analyze. Politics and social media, or memes and social media. But you might not be able to find specifically like Kermit the Frog meme and social media because nobody's probably analyzed that yet. Okay, so you need 30 total sources. Does that look like 30 or should it be this way? I don't really know. But you need 30 total sources. That's 20 primary sources, so coming straight from social media, 5 secondary credible sources, and 5 scholarly articles. You do not have to, as just a reminder, you do not have to annotate these sources. You just need to provide the citation for them. And if I show you an example of what I mean, I would love to do that. So let's take a peek real quick. Here is an example extended bibliography. This student has listed a citation, listed another citation, another citation, another citation, all of the citations. This is all you have to do for this assignment. It is just a list of citations. That's all that it is, okay? All right, let's go back to the assignment sheet. Make sure that you're using proper secondary sources. Make sure, again, that you're searching in the right place for the scholarly articles. If you don't remember how to find scholarly articles, go back to the tutorial in week 2 on how to use ProQuest. Like I said before, you cannot have the same topic as anyone else in the class. So you do need to check this list of already claimed topics and make sure that you email me before you start doing your research, because I would hate for you to email me, do your research, and then get an email back that says, no, your topic has already been claimed, or that says, no, your topic is not fit for this project, because that happens sometimes as well. So please look for an approval, and I will give those to you within 24 hours. And if you don't hear from me, email me again. So there's some examples here on primary sources and on secondary sources. This is an article from CNN, and this is a tweet. There's some resources here on different types of social media. As far as your extended bibliography goes, there's it needs to be formatted in APA format, but it doesn't need an abstract and it doesn't need a cover page. Later this week for the quiz, you'll learn how to format just like the basic layout in APA format, and then next week you'll learn how to do the citations kind of like we did in MLA format. So here's some reminders. Make sure that you use this kind of as a little checklist. At a minimum, make sure that your extended bibliography has at least 3 different types of social media sources. Make sure you have at least 20 primary, 5 secondary, 5 scholarly, so that's a total of 30. And then you have a little maybe rubric here for a checklist. Citations are in APA format. That's 80 points. That's the most important thing, is that you know how to do APA format. I mean, if they're in MLA format, you're losing 80 points. So please, please make sure you're using APA format. That's so important. Page layout is accurate. Please title it Extended Bibliography. I hate when I have to give you 0 points for a title. I shouldn't even ask you to do it, but I do. And then I'll, just have some deductions here if I need them. Okay, so that's the extended bib. Please email me if you have any questions at all, because I would be happy to answer them. Okay, so what you're doing this week, because there's nothing due at the end of this week on Sunday, but there is a quiz due on Wednesday, and that is Wednesday, March 28th. So this week you have an APA format quiz. That quiz, this always happens. That quiz is on APA format, like I said, and I don't know if you remember, but it's basically the same thing as I asked you to do with MLA format. Whenever I asked you guys to practice formatting your assignment in MLA, and then I had you kind of like write me a little bit, I want you to do the same thing with APA format, and I'm going to give you feedback on that. So make sure that you create an APA formatted document with a header. The header in APA format is the most difficult thing to do, but once you have that figured out, I think a lot of students report back that APA is the easiest thing from then on. I want you to have a cover page with the title, APA formatted document. I want it to have your name, and I want it to have Cape Fear Community College, because those are the things you have to have for APA format. And there's a whole lesson in this module, this week's learning folders, so please review the lesson. I want you to have an abstract page with the title abstract. You don't actually have to have an abstract, just leave that part out. I just want you to know that you need to have an abstract for this assignment. A page where you would start your essay. And instead of actually having your essay, please tell me a little bit about your thoughts for this next project. You don't have to write much, but tell me, if there's something you're thinking about. Now, as a side note, please know, whatever you say in this quiz does not count as claiming your project topic. You still have to email me, so please don't hesitate, or please don't forget to do that. And then a references page. You don't actually have to have the references. I just want to see, again, that you know the structure, that there should be a references page, and it's not called Works Cited anymore. It's called references. So when you're done, save it, upload it, and you'll be good. Okay, y'all, that pretty much covers everything, and this video is already excessively long. I'm so sorry. Again, I'll put information on where to find what down in the comments here, but don't forget, the most important thing, I think, is to pick your topic and to email me the minute you pick your topic, because you don't want it to get taken and you want it to get approved. Let me know if you guys have any questions this week. I hope that this video has been helpful for you to kind of get introduced to APA, but definitely go through the whole lessons this week, because you will be so lost in this unit if you don't watch the lessons and pay attention to everything that's in the lessons. I put all that stuff in there for a reason. All right, y'all. Have a good week. Bye.